$7 doesn't look dangerous. You probably wouldn't think twice about spending it. But what if that tiny $7 decision isn't costing you $7? What if it's costing you the opportunity to have $100,000 or more in the future? And here's the uncomfortable part. The $7 habit isn't even the worst one. There are 5 completely normal money habits that can quietly keep you broke for years. And number 1 is the habit most people don't even realize they are doing. So why do smart, hardworking people still struggle to build wealth? It's not always because they don't earn enough. Sometimes it's because their money disappears before they ever get the chance to use it for something important. Think about your last paycheck. You get paid, then rent, then food, then transportation, then subscriptions, then shopping, then entertainment, and suddenly your next paycheck is only days away. But here's the question, where did the wealth-building money go? Let's call him James. James earns a decent income. He's not irresponsible. He pays his bills. He works hard. He occasionally invests. And he doesn't consider himself a big spender. But every morning, James buys a $7 drink. On the weekend, he orders food. He keeps 3 streaming services. When his salary increases, he upgrades his lifestyle. And when his credit card bill gets uncomfortable, he pays the minimum. None of these decisions feels like a financial disaster. That's exactly why they are dangerous. Because financial damage doesn't always arrive as one giant purchase. Sometimes, it arrives as something that feels completely normal. Let's take that $7 habit. $7 a day is about $2, $555 a year. Now imagine that instead of spending it, you invested that amount consistently for decades. At a hypothetical 8% annual return, the future value after 30 years would be around $288,000. That's not a promise. Markets don't deliver a guaranteed 8%, but the math demonstrates something incredibly important. Small amounts can become enormous when combined with time and compounding. And now we arrive at the real question. If one tiny habit can have such a large opportunity cost, what happens when you have 5 of them? Here's the surprising part. You don't actually need to stop buying coffee. You don't need to become obsessed with coupons. You don't need to live like a monk, and you definitely don't need to hate spending money. The goal isn't to eliminate every small pleasure. The goal is to identify the habits that happen automatically, because automatic spending is different from intentional spending. When you consciously decide to spend $7, that's a choice. When $7 disappears every day without you even thinking about it, that's a system. And systems are what we're going to fix. This sentence can destroy your budget. It's only $10. $10 for an app, $10 for delivery, $10 for an upgrade, $10 for something you saw online. The problem isn't $10 purchase. It's the repeated decision to treat small purchases as financially irrelevant. Your brain ignores small numbers. Your bank account doesn't. You get a raise. And suddenly, your old phone feels outdated. Your apartment feels too small. Your car feels embarrassing. Restaurants you used to consider expensive become normal. Your income increased. But so did your lifestyle. This is lifestyle inflation. And it's dangerous because it doesn't feel like you're spending more. It feels like you've simply earned the right to live better. And sometimes you have. But if every raise immediately becomes a bigger lifestyle, your income can rise for years without your wealth following it. Here's one of the easiest financial leaks to miss: recurring payments. You might cancel a $50 purchase because it feels expensive, but 5 subscriptions at $10, they barely register. That's the psychology of recurring spending. The payment happens automatically, so the decision disappears. You may be surprised by what you're still paying for. Habit number 2, buying with future money. This habit sounds like, I'll pay it off next month. And sometimes, next month becomes next month again. The problem with credit isn't that every credit card purchase is bad. The problem starts when you consistently borrow against future income to finance today's lifestyle. Now you're not just spending today's money. You're reducing tomorrow's options. And now, the habit that can quietly cost you the most: waiting. I'll invest when I make more. I need to get my finances together first. I'll start next year. I don't have enough money yet. But compounding has one ingredient you can't buy later. You don't need to start with thousands of dollars. The important lesson is to build the habit of putting money to work consistently, while also handling high-interest debt and maintaining an appropriate emergency cushion. So what do these 5 habits have in common? They're not outrageous. They're not obviously irresponsible. They're normal. That's the problem. The most dangerous financial habits are often the ones society has taught us not to question. And the solution isn't to become cheap. It's to become intentional. Here's what I want you to do today. Open your bank account. Look at the last 30 days. Find 5 expenses that happened repeatedly. Then ask 3 questions. Did I actually need this? Did it make my life meaningfully better? And would I rather have this money working for my future? Don't try to completely change your financial life tonight. Just redirect one small leak. Because wealth isn't usually built by one dramatic decision. It's built by thousands of ordinary decisions made consistently. If you want to stop feeling like your paycheck disappears before you can build wealth, subscribe. And watch this next video, the 24-hour rule that can save you thousands. Because the easiest money to save is often the money you haven't spent yet.